Thank you so much for sharing your Sunday morning. It is sunrise. Yes, indeed. To register for these events, you go to afroeconomics.com/events. So on each Sunday, you'll have a Sunday at Sunrise discussion that is grounded in our Gianyame, the fifth principle of Afroeconomics, that nothing is possible without God, that Gianyame except God, that without him, nothing even matters. So I focus on that fifth principle of integrity. Gianyame is the symbol in Afroeconomics for that we utilize for that fifth principle of Afroeconomics to encourage us to grow and to include God into our financial decisions. I even have a Gianyame membership that you can take advantage of, and that we, definitely are. You may want to have like that only invest in companies that you feel meet your particular standards. You have socially conscious. I created a Gianyame portfolio because of a client that was really interested in focusing on socially conscious investing and things like that. And there are ways where you don't have to give up your investment returns. You can still make some really good investment returns, and you might have a need that you want to make sure that the companies that you invest in don't have any cultural, racial, or gender biases. Very hard, very hard. That's a hard one, but at least we can look for investments that say that that's what they do. That we definitely can try, because we know that you can't put a finger on. You can't rate. Like I went to my favorite hotel that I stay at all the time. I use them for New York. I use them for Washington, D.C. I use them when I'm traveling. I use them for meetings in Virginia. I use them. And the other day I was sitting and what I saw was just a neutral area, and I was told to leave. And I said, I want to speak to the manager. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then he said, well, I didn't want to eat in the restaurant. I just wanted something little to eat. So I went to the place adjacent, connected to the hotel, and brought the food back. He told me I had to go. So I went to the manager of that restaurant area, which I was not in the restaurant. I was in the area in front of it. Sits right there in the middle of the hotel. And I wasn't in there at all. Wasn't asking them for anything. It was separated, totally different furniture, everything. So he told me to go, and I said that if you don't want people to sit here and eat other food, you need to put some sort of signage, because it allows you to discriminate. It leaves too much space, So they haven't been cited for racial bias, but then the operations manager finally was looking for me the rest of the trip, according to him. And before I could check out, it was like he was waiting, and I did a late check out because I had meetings. And then he said, I want to talk to you. But my point here is that it is very difficult for us to avoid biases. It's very difficult. I told him I'm a product of my experiences that I've been through in my life, and I have been treated unfairly in many situations. And, he pointed out that this reminds me a lot of the Starbucks situation, where the brothers were sitting there, and waiting for their meeting, and they didn't want to order anything, and they told them to leave. Now, I'm staying at this hotel. They're telling me to leave. Now, so and I told him, I said, I think that if I was a white male, you wouldn't be asking me to do that. But if I was a white female, you wouldn't be sitting here by myself. You would not be telling me to leave. And especially with the level of at this point, they didn't know I was like the elite, premier, platinum, whatever the operations manager told me that I was. for them. They didn't know, but it shouldn't have to walk around with, I'm an elite, premier, platinum, guest and don't treat me poorly. They just based it on, in my opinion, what I look like, and they just thinking, oh, she's not staying here. Because earlier that day, I sat down, did some stock trades, and then they said nothing to me. Nothing. So when they thought, oh, well, she's, just, doing some work, this woman, well, of course, I didn't have any food, so they could argue that, no, it was the food issue. But later on, I came back casual with a little bag of food, and in that same section, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, you can't sit here. So my thing is, put the signage up, because there's too much room for you deciding. It did not say no outside food. It did not say don't sit here. It did not, and the operations manager of the hotel agreed that that was unnecessary and that they should have, continued to allow me to sit there. It was ridiculous. But I say that to say that the only way that you truly know is to get into the business yourself, investigate them. As I was telling someone that was asking me to come to speak to a group of young people, and I was explaining to them that they were expressing some other people that were in the business and the way that they do business, in my opinion, is not from a place of integrity. They're not registered. They're not licensed. They're like, and I said, if you like the way that they do things, then you should not ask me to come in, because we're totally different. I'm on the straight and narrow. The fifth principle of AfroEconomics is integrity. And I'm doing all I can to do everything by the books. And so then she said that, oh, no, we really want you. But I just feel that we have to take a stand on what we represent, and be fearless in the presentation of it, because the power is in the process. It's in the process of, Mr. Yarbrough, you will have to decide, when you're in the situation, where is God in the situation? How do we keep God in our situation? Mr. Forsyth, what do we, do to keep us to persevere through the process that we're going through? So I like in Psalms chapter 20, verse 4, where it says, may God give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. No, I like that. I don't feel that that's about religion. I feel that that's about our personal relationship with God. That however you worship, that may God give you the desires of your heart and make all your plans succeed. The power is in the process. It's based on my belief that we gain sustainable wealth through taking those action steps that lead us forward. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes it possible to actually get to a particular level. Something goes wrong, everything gets knocked off track, and you get back on track because of the process, because you did that heavy lifting, right? If you don't do the work, then you can't lift anything. No, I feel that there's a physical and a mental connection. I feel that the stronger that I am physically, the stronger I am mentally. So I feel that when you're weakened, when you're not taking care of that 10th principle of AfroEconomics, and the word speaks on that to protect your temple, to protect your health, so that you can achieve the desires of your heart through sustaining yourself, taking care of yourself. He said, may you have good health as you develop a good relationship with me. That God wants you to be strong. He wants you to be able to sustain things. He wants us to know that the power is in the process of developing a better mindset, right? That we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. It's real. So my first action step for the process that make God allow all your plans to be successful, we must at first establish a financial planning process. You must first, so that is the first step of AfroEconomics. And in many cases, it involves me slowing people down to build them up. Because our action steps have to be action steps that build our base, right? It's like going to the gym and all you do is work your arms when your legs are required to take you around all day. Well, your legs are your financial plan. Setting those financial goals, knowing your why. The first principle of AfroEconomics, your legacy. Why are you doing this? What is the footprint that you want to leave on this planet? These are the things that keep us going when all hell breaks loose. You go back to your why. You go back to your legacy. You go back to that written plan that we had, and it keeps you on track. Because it's craziness. There's always going to be craziness. There's always going to be, I think I'm going to go and just quit this job because it's getting on my nerves. But you can't. Because you have this why. So you have to actually realize that the power is in the process of keeping our cool. I wouldn't be here with you today if I had gone off in that hotel that I feel discriminated against me as I'm just sitting there trying to eat a little bit and do my work. But if I went crazy, it wouldn't. There's no power. The power was in, let me talk to the manager. Let's take this farther. Let's discuss this. Because to me, it's important to make sure that they realize their practices and that the next person behind me does not get slowed down from the ignorance. And then when they wanted to make it go on and on and on, I said, email me the information that I need. And it got emailed to me. There's power in that email. You start writing stuff, there's power there. But the power is in the process. The screaming, the yelling, the cussing, that wouldn't work. It won't work today. It never has for us. So we got to do as much as we can and keep that commitment and put it in writing, because they depend on us not to put it in writing. The power is in the process. You start being that type of person that starts writing stuff down, you know how it works, and they'll say, well, we're going to record this, and they start recording things, and you know that feeling like, oh my goodness, they're writing it down. That's real. And you got to write down stuff on them too, on this and this and date. So if you ever feel that you've been treated incorrectly, you have to have documentation as well. There's power in the process. So know your why. Know why you're doing this. Say, that I want to do comprehensive financial planning. That's what AfroEconomics membership is all about. That's what it's about. Looking at your investments, making sure you're organized, doing financial planning, developing your legacy, commitment to our community, financial independence, integrity, accountability, making sure that we're doing regular reviews. But know your why, and that's why you need to get started. Establish your goals. I know why I'm doing this, because you want to leave a footprint on the planet and I am closing the wealth gap in the world. And then a second is to establish your goals. So we do that. I get you into the financial planning portal. I give you your sign in, your ID. It communicates back to me. It says you've logged in. It says you've finished, or you're not halfway through. You tell me you put some in there. I can look at what you're doing. And we basically kind of Google Doc back with each other, prepare for our meeting. and we have something to work on, or you go into and you print out the actual document, you establish your goals. We get it done. It doesn't matter to me how we get it done. We get it done. Your goal is your goal, that I want to clear up my money because I want to do a particular type of investing. I want to invest more in stocks. I want to invest more in real estate. I want to invest more in whatever you want to invest more. You want to invest more, we got to get it in the base. We got to get the base of your financial house, your structure correct. We got to get that right first. Because that as an advisor, I can see when you're on shaky ground more than you can see it, because you're just taking steps to do whatever it is you have in mind, but you're not thinking about the worst case scenario. That's my job, to say, do this because of this. If this is what you truly want, then we need to do this. You're trying to establish long-term income. Well, this is accumulating debt over and over and over is not how we do it. Not how we do it. So establish your goals. A third point, put in the work. The power is in the process. Put in the work. Take the time to gather and organize the data needed to reach your financial goals. Take the time, right? Mr. Clinton, you know, it's all about, most people won't take that time to put in the work to get these things that they want for themselves, for their family, for the next generation. Put in that time. How do you do it? You get up earlier. Hey, we're all up. This is 7 a.m. on a Sunday. That makes us superstars. Sleeping in on a Sunday because somebody told you that you're supposed to sleep in, you know, and somehow we feel like we're equal to God because they said that God had a day of rest in the Bible. You know, you're not God. I'm not God. I'm in the grind. I'm working. He might have worked 200 years straight. I mean, you know, it says 7 days. That could represent actually 700 years. That could be 70 years. It could be anything. We just know that King James said that, you know, and on the seventh day, or 6 years, 600 years. Just give me 6 years. Give me 6 years of working straight. I was in Uber the other day, and the man was like, oh, what you going to do after this? He was picking me up Friday. I had a meeting, a speaking engagement from 5 to 7, you know, at a teachers union in Washington, D.C., and they were fabulous. For those of you who are watching, y'all were great. And then, so I would get in the Uber to go back towards my office, and then he says, because I just didn't want to be driving. It was Friday evening, so my car was in the garage. Yes. And he said, oh, you going to do something fun? And I said, no, I'm going to do some work. I got meetings tomorrow. And then I said, I don't believe in the weekend. I said, how about you? You know, do you have weekends in your country? He said, weekend? That's an American thing. And he was straight, very Christian. He said, and he's from Ethiopia. And he said, in Ethiopia, we are very Christian. You know, he said, but we don't believe. You know, he said, no, I work. He said, I watch people party all the time. I sit there, I wait. After they get drunk, I pick them up. I get them home safely. I work all weekend. I know that's right. In New York, it was this a driver. I think he was from another African country, and he was saying the same thing. You know, it's like he works there. I don't even like to deal with people at night because they get so drunk. This one lady regurgitated in my car, and I said I would never work at night again. So that's why he was up so early to take me and my assistant to the airport and comfortably in a clean car. Indeed. You know, you can't work 24/7, but you can definitely choose those 16 hours that you want to work, right? What you gonna do? Or if you only work 8 hours, what are you doing with the next 8? I know you want some sleep. You sleep, but you can't sleep the whole time. We can't do that. You don't have to do that. And nobody who's taking Saturday and Sunday off should have a credit card balance. If you're taking Saturday and Sunday off and you're not doing anything to make money for Friday night, on Saturday, or on Sunday, and you have debt, you're doing the wrong thing. You should be doing something that is income creating through the week, period. So put in the work. Take time to gather and organize what is needed to reach your goals. I need to know where your investments are, how much you have at each place, what did you leave behind at your last job, where is the last statement, what credit card debts do you have, what consumer debts do you have, what is the balance on your mortgage, what is the interest rate on all of your debts, what are the balances on all of your debts. That's in it. That's in my plan. And you should have these things because we need to know what we're working with and you need to know what you're dealing with. And I remember having debt and not wanting to look at it. So that's why I know that what stops us is not having that plan. Every nutritionist I've ever had, and I've had a few, they've always said, you've got to write down what you eat. I don't like to write down what I eat. Because if I write down what I eat, then I'd be like, I can't believe I ate that. So I don't want to write that down. So when you don't want to write down your bills and your debts, and you don't want to put it into that financial plan, know that it's because we're in denial. We're in denial. We gotta straighten out our ways. We gotta get it. We gotta stop doing that. Right? You gotta do it right. So, and then analyze your information and calculations. Analyze. So we got all this information together. Then we want to analyze it. We want to look at the calculations. We want to see, what does that mean? My little computer says, well, if you keep saving at this rate with this amount of money, it says you're either highly likely to be able to retire at the age that you said and stop working, or that you need to consider working longer. You have to work longer now or later, because if you're carrying all those debts, they're going to need to get done. They're going to need to get done. They're going to need to get paid. I mean, people in their 60s with huge school loan debts from graduate school. It's real. We have to address this. They will take your Social Security check, at least part of it, to cover those federal school loan debts. So the private lenders probably at this point will have already done something else. They're going to take something. They're going to get it. But the feds are actually the easier one to deal with, because they're going to allow you to defer it, because they know they're going to get the money if you live. And you're like, what if I die? Well, you don't get to use the education. So they don't have to care about that. They don't have to worry about that. You got to want to live. You got to want to live, and you're going to have to pay it back so that you can benefit from it. You can utilize that. So, I have a section in the book where I talk about making sure that your degree is worth it, especially when we're older, and then you go into all that debt, get the book, and then your salary has to increase in order to make that investment in that additional education worthwhile. So what we can do, if we don't want to go into debt, we can invest in additional experiences, or we can work somewhere that will actually reimburse you for your education. When you get the reimbursement, you pay any debts that you get. It's consistent that a lot of people are taking out extra money and saying they'll pay it back later. Don't allow your children to do that. This lady was, telling me about how she got her child to get a school loan, and there was extra money, so they took the money and they were doing these investments with it. That's not operating in integrity. That's not what we're supposed to be doing with that federal school loan. I'm sure you signed something that says this is for school, this is for housing, this is for books, this is for this. Just because people don't get caught doesn't mean that it's right. You're operating you're outside of integrity. So you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that action, because you're teaching your child that it's okay to not follow the rules. If they read something that said you're not supposed to do something, you told them it was okay to do it, then what are you teaching them? Don't be shocked when they decide they don't want to pay the IRS, because it's that same thing of trying to live outside, on the edges, on the outside of integrity. We're not there. AfroEconomics members, we don't do that. We don't do that. We want an 800 plus credit score, not because we want to go into debt. We don't want to be your slave. It's because we know that we save money on our car insurance. We save money on our life insurance. You have better employment opportunities with good credit. That's what we know. We know that the process of getting a 800 plus credit score that's where the power is. The discipline that's required to be that organized, to get those things together, that's where the power is. Today's discussion, the power is in the process of reaching your financial goals. That's it. It makes it sustainable. It gives you the knowledge. It gives you the information. All of these little expensive companies that go, I can improve your credit score, and they don't get you involved at all. They just go around changing addresses and all this stuff and taking off stuff for 30 days, and it goes right back on, and you're all excited because that's not sustainable. I'm talking about real practice improvement and score enhancement because of what you did, because of what you understand. That's what AfroEconomics membership is about. So realize the discipline it takes to reach your financial goals. A wrong decision can set you back for years. A wrong decision can set you back for years. Deciding that it is okay to, take out a high interest loan because you want to take that vacation. Deciding that you want to upgrade, and I've seen this in many situations where people have been talked into upgrading, like timeshares and things like that, and I've had many seniors who aren't working anymore, in that situation because their child or their niece or someone told them, upgrade, get this so that we can do da-da-da-da-da. And then they're excited because they want to spend more time with their family, but they have to pay that huge maintenance expense now. So a decision can set you back, because then you eventually get it off and you don't have to do it, but the stress that you go through, unnecessary stress of having huge amounts of debts or unnecessary debts will shorten your life. It can shorten your life. I've seen it shorten lives. It reduces the value of each day of your life. That's serious. Anybody have any question for me? Make sure you ask. Thanks for your participation. And you keep coming in as we're going along as well. Thank you. But it's 1-833-275-2376. Make sure that sleep's not in your voice. But that's 1-833-ASK-AFRO. And indeed, I'm here for you. So I'm holding the book because I'm saying that the least that you can do for yourself is just get this book, that it'll give you kind of a checklist, just going through the principles of things that we need to make sure that we're constantly doing. And then, so a wrong decision can set you back for years. Like a 401k, I could do a whole workshop on why it's hard on you to take out a loan on your 401k, because it slows down your savings rate. So even though they encourage you to do it because you're borrowing from yourself, but if your payment is $350 on the loan to pay back, and then you're only saving $400 a month, then now you're only saving, say, $50. So you were saving $400, now you got the loan that gets paid first. So you're kind of spending in space all of a sudden, like you're not progressing the way you were. So we have to be very careful that everything that's available to us, we don't need to take advantage of. How about those checks that come in the mail and they say, sign the back, this is a loan, right? Now, you know your credit's good when you start getting those. You know, so you're getting it. I remember back before 2007, and they were doing that, which for what's known as the mortgage crisis, but it was a financial industry crisis, where these people had sent out all this stuff and made all these loans so easy, and all these interest-only, you know, mortgages and adjustable interest rates, and unfortunately, our community took advantage of them, not realizing the worst case scenario. So I always say the worst case scenario. You have these debts and something happens and you lose your job, or you want to leave your job, you can't. You'll lose everything. You can end up losing your house because of unnecessary consumer debts, or going through bankruptcies, things like that, you know, for nothing. When people refinance their home or get equity lines and purchase cars with equity lines on their home, you know, that car is a short-term purchase that you're putting into a long-term loan. That's how lenders make money. Don't do it. So that's what we're talking about. The power is in the process of the discipline that is required for us to have a healthy financial life. And it starts with developing this plan. Because remember, we're meditating on, may God give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. Psalms 20, verse 4. Yes, indeed. Please share, and you can chat with me, any verses that you like to meditate on that make you feel that you can accomplish all things that you set forth. But even God asks that we articulate the desires of our heart. You know, that we pray, and that we include prayer in all that we do. Be anxious for nothing, and in all things be prayerful, right? So a wrong decision can set you back for years. Do you know the true cost of debts that you have? You know, when they say you take out this loan, if you take this, 10 years that I've given you, you will be paying back 3 times more than what you took out. I have a problem with that. You got to get to work. So also, an 8th point is having a written plan increases your chances of following it, right? But only if we print it out, you read it, you write it. Financial plan. It's easy. Like, one lady came in my office, and she had just joined, and she had the 10 principles, and she had it in the glossy section of a notebook. She was determined. Yeah, girl. I said, I love it. I love it. Anybody want that one sheeter on the 10 principles? I put it in most of your folders when I see you, or if you come to an event, it's in the folder, the 10 principles, the 10 principles. That's a plan. That's a plan and a half. You just start discovering my why. Why am I doing this? Boom. Get the workbook. The workbook is good too, because you got to fill in the blank. Then financial independence, self-reliance. I don't blame anything on anybody. If I don't like what's happening, I change it. You can't stop me. We got to believe that. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up, right? The organization and planning, knowledge, increasing our knowledge, getting up at 7 o'clock, doing it, participating with me at 3 p.m., checking out the AfroEconomics updates that I post on Mondays. On Mondays, I just go over how the market did the previous week and things like that. Just getting all the knowledge that you can. Integrity, keeping God in your financial decisions. Being accountable, the 6th principle, check yourself. Considering entrepreneurship. I believe that as entrepreneurs, that we are in a position to create great wealth for our community and reduce the wealth gap. But I have an entrepreneurship membership, because we have to be very conscious of our financial steps as entrepreneurs. Because we're 100% responsible for our financial futures. So that means we have to be more organized than the average person. And then, even if you work somewhere, as I said, I encourage making sure that you create additional source of income for yourself. Right there, keep it simple. There's ways on the internet that you can make money. Now, I wrote a book, and then the book, I wake up many days, and the book, somebody went in the bookstore and bought books. One time, somebody went in the bookstore and bought 9 books, kids' books, workbooks, and the books. They went to Amazon, so I couldn't even keep a relationship with them because I don't even know who did that. But, the books. One time I had a church that purchased 100 kids' books and 100 adult books. That you do that work one time, create that product one time, do that one time, and it can pay you forever. But we can invest in that book and creating and putting together this book and hiring the people for the graphics and, editing and checking behind and transcribing and all this stuff costs about as much as a car, indeed. But the car doesn't keep you paid. The car, you don't wake up and get a check from your car, right? So whatever it is that you can do to create, if you create, I have a member that she makes jewelry, that she puts the jewelry, posts it up on the site. She makes the jewelry, puts it in there. Somebody make an order. She makes that piece of jewelry again. No, can't wait. I told her, you are my Christmas. I'm looking for a member now because I that does catering. I have one, and I can't remember who it was that said that they do catering as their part-time legitimate gig. Yeah. So then, but I want to do my commerce within my members, and I want my members to be able to do the same. So the credit confidence, remember? Yes, indeed, being determined. The 9th principle, the power is in the process, and you've got to be determined. So finally, I want to share that I need you to know and establish your action steps. The power is in the process, but the process is only possible by you knowing and taking your action steps. What are you going to do now? Consider AfroEconomics membership. Allow me to assist you in reaching your financial goals. But whatsoever you do, keep God first and believe. I know you can do it. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for sharing your time. Y'all are quiet this morning. Remember, on Wednesday, or remember right now, I'll give you one more second, 1-833-275-AFRO, 1-833-ASK AFRO. And you can ask questions, but once I go off the air, you can still call that number, but please leave a voicemail, and we will certainly call you back and get you all set up. I just thought about that. If I give the number out, and this is on YouTube, you're seeing this later. So don't worry. You can call that number, leave a message, and leave your question, and I will definitely make sure that it gets answered. My email is also jb@afroeconomics.com. Have a wonderful day. Be empowered. Can't wait to meet with you. I look forward to it, Mr. and Mrs. Peterson. Indeed. Thank you. Blessings. Oh, thank you.